Hello there. In this video I'm going to show you how you can create this ivy leaf pendant with this Voronoi pattern in the centre, and we're going to use the application Fluid Designer for 3D printing. So there's a number of different things we're going to use. We're going to use this outline ivy leaf pattern here, which is in Patterns Leaves folder. Now if I just click Group Library, this will just refresh this list here. Going to use one of these wire connectors to put the chain through. I'm also going to use a Voronoi pattern. A number of different Voronoi patterns available. I'm going to use, I think, this hexagon pattern 005. Okay, so if I just first of all, if I go back, if I go back to leaves, patterns leaves, so I'm going to use this ivy leaf here. Now there are a couple of other ivy leaf options there, but I'm going to use this empty one. And this object is a Bezier curve in 2D, and it's been extruded 1 millimeter, so that's 1 millimeter above the grid there and 1 millimeter below, so it's a total thickness of 2 millimeters plus another 0.2, which is the bevel. So there's a little bevel edge there which adds another 0.1 millimeter at the top and the bottom. So that's a default object which you can actually purchase from us. And what we're going to do is put a Voronoi pattern in the middle there, and so we need to go to File and Append, and we always go up through the menu system until you get to the Groups folder, and I'm looking for the Voronoi Patterns folder, and I'm going to use Hexagonal Pattern 005, and it's the object that I want to append, and so I just append that from the library. Now this is a parametric smart object. Now this is actually a curve, a NURBS curve in fact, and at the moment it's set up for 3D. Now if I want to fit that inside there, I need to clearly scale it down, so I'll just switch on screencast key so you can see key presses I make. So if I just press the S key on the keyboard for scale, and I just need to move that down and try and get it so that it's going to fit inside the leaf there. And when you scale in Fluid Designer, always remember to do Control A and apply the scale, and notice the thickness is reapplied there. Now the thickness of this object, the default thickness, is 1/2, so it's 1 millimeter there and 2 millimeters deep, which is more or less what the leaf itself is as well. That's kind of our default sizing. Now because this is a smart object, if you wanted to, you could change it to 1/1 quite easily, or 1/3, any sort of size that you want. But I'm going to stick to the default size 1/2. And now I need to make some changes to this. So the snap is off at the moment, so I'm just going to drag that up there. And I want to kind of position it something like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into edit mode now. And what I want to do is to highlight the control points around the hexagon. So I've clicked on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 control points there. But I've also got a control point in the center there. Control point in the center there. Control point in the center there, control point in the center there, and I've got to be careful that I get the right control point there, and I'm just zooming in with the mouse button. Can't quite see the control point on that side, so I'm going to press X to delete. No, it's taken it out anyway. Okay, so I've deleted the hexagon around the outside there, and essentially now I need to sort of play around with these objects and position them. I've got the snap off, so if I press G on the keyboard for grab, I can bring that back in, and I just want it pretty much in the kind of center of this leaf. There, control point, G on the keyboard, just pull it out, G on the keyboard, pull it out, Now over here I'm going to select that control point. Now there's two control points there, one for this arm and one for the other, so I'll just press G. So I'm going to pull that one down to, say, there. And this control point, I'm going to move it down. Try and get this arm straight. Now I'm going to switch on the snap now and switch on vertex select. And I'm going to select this control point and G to grab. There must be more than one control point there, so I just delete that control point, G to grab, and lock it onto that control point using the snap. Now I just need to switch that off now. Now over here I'm going to delete these bits here, so X to delete, X to delete, that's okay. View to top view again, control point, G, grab it out. Try and keep these arms straight, and over here control point, G, put it in the center, G, put it in the center there. A couple more up to do up here. Now because we're using parametric equations here for these objects, because they are in fact NURBS curves for the Voronoi object and Bezier for this, we can get away with just joining these objects together and letting NetFab to sort it all out. So there's our basic leaf. I'm going to put a connector on the bottom here. So I go to File and Append. Just go up through the menu system until you get to Groups. Go to Connectors, and I'm going to do a wire connector with a 2mm hole, and just append that from the library. And go to View and Top View. I can just drag that down now and rotate it 180 degrees. Now this arm here is a little bit longer perhaps than I want. So the leaf itself, the ivy leaf itself, is also made up of a curve, but it's actually a Bezier curve, this. And it's also a 2D curve if you look over here, so it's a little bit different from the Voronoi pattern. So if I highlight those control points there, I can just pull those up a bit, just to make it a bit shorter. It's a bit too long otherwise. And I'll just pull that one in a little bit. So, you know, you can see I can resize and reshape that object as I feel fit. Now I'm going to make this one the same cross section as my Voronoi pattern. So I'm going to change it to 1x2. So you see that it matches with the Voronoi pattern there. And I need to just position this. So we just need it to be overlapping there somewhere. Yeah, that's okay. And that's essentially it now. Now to join these objects together, what you need to do is to go to Tools, Object Tools, and convert it to a mesh. Tools, Object Tools, convert that Voronoi pattern to a mesh. Tools, Object Tools, and convert the ivy leaf itself to a mesh. And then if you highlight the connector, hold down the Shift key, click on the Voronoi pattern, click on the ivy leaf, and join them together. You don't need to do anything more than that because we're using curves here rather than just simple meshes, and I will rely on NetFab now to sort of fix that for me. So I did this earlier, and I usually export it as a wavefront object. I saved it with the name Voronoi Ivy Leaf Pendant and exported that to the desktop. I won't do that again. And so you just need to go to NetFab Basic and just run that through the repair procedure there, and then you've got your finished model basically. And I uploaded it to Shapeways, and I guarantee you it is 3D printable. So good luck in making your own. Oh, sorry, one other thing. If you did actually want to personalize this, you could add some text to it. So I could add a Harrington font, for example. So if I just went to File and Append, and let's see, Harrington font. So if I chose letter A, okay, so there's make sure you select the object. and you can position it and size it wherever you want. See, rotate it 180 degrees in this case. So I could put the letter A there. I could scale it down a little bit. Remember, when you scale, you must do Control A and apply to scale. So if you did want to personalise this pendant, you could put a letter A on, or any other letter of the alphabet, and personalise it if you want to. I didn't do in my example. Alright, good luck.